All right, bro. I think we are recording.
Hello.
The thing is showing, the audio's going. So I think we're good.
Is it the EastEnders again?
EastEnders effect, yeah.
EastEnders.
So we were literally just chatting and catching up about
Yeah,
life, and then we're having a conversation about the changes happening in the borough. And I was like, you know what? Let me try and record this because I think it could be useful. It could be interesting. So yeah, you were asking a question.
Yeah, I was just asking how the borough are basically being shaped up now. How is it changing?
Yeah, so I forget the name of it, but like I think it's the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
The people who help do the administrative business of sending out postal votes, of collecting votes in local and general elections.
Yeah.
They're looking at the constituencies, so where the boundaries of constituencies exist, and for East London, Stratford in particular. Because of the Olympic Village and people moving in there, there's more people living there. So West Ham constituency, they need to look at the boundaries again, and it's going to be carved up into Stratford and Bow.
Okay.
And then West Ham and Beckton.
Okay.
So some of the wards and the different places will map to different areas.
I mean that would be quite cool because obviously Stratford is a place in itself. But with the added extension of E20 and obviously all the Olympics that now is the new perimeter of Stratford, it actually has gone quite towards the north of this area. So with all that happening, and then West Ham and obviously Canning Town and then all of that area growing, you've got a lot of investment and housing and things going up there. Yeah, that makes sense, and I think that's quite good because I think. For me, as a resident here, I feel that we always need to be represented by, someone that is local and that has, a foot in the specific area that we are in. Because every area, I guess, has their different people and have their different issues.
Or is it in a bottle? Oh, it's not gonna. Okay. Yeah. No, and that's true. And people and stuff change over time, right? Yeah. And so if an area on the map no longer captures people that actually belong to that place, or because they live there, or and there's things like rivers, right? If rivers naturally separate people, and so you have to draw the map according to where people actually live, and then hopefully you would elect people that represent that new thing. And people change over time, areas change over time. So they're doing that because all across the country, I think the last time they did it was 20, 30 years ago, looking at the boundary and stuff, the maps. So Stratford's going to change.
We're going to cut quickly because
the stuff in the way.
Yeah, when the wind was going, it was proper just...
I didn't even clock it. Nice one.
It was... Wait, you don't get involved,
Yeah, that's fine.
Oi. Oh, you didn't. Go over there. Go and find the bottle again. Go on. Go and lay down in the sun. Go and lay down. Lay down.
Obedient dog.
Keela, lay down. Go on. Lay down. Get some sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, she is a good dog, man. And to be honest, in this park, a lot of the kids do know her. She does get a reaction from people because she is a big dog.
She's a beautiful dog, mate.
She is.
And you were just saying as well, what this park has changed over time. Because I remember, obviously, I live in the house just over there. I've lived there all my life. St. Count's house, grew up in as a child, and these basketball courts went there a little while ago. And some of these jungle gym stuff. It's good.
No,
it's
definitely. Because back in the day, we used to have a container. This is all filled. What you used to have is where the actual club is and where the swings are. There used to be the gate used to be there.
Yeah.
And you would have, it was like a playground in that area, and we had a bike dirt track, which was a bit more. It was way hillier than this, and they did a redevelopment of it, and that centre was actually opened by Boris Johnson, and I was actually there.
Serious?
Yeah, to cut the
I
ribbon.
can't remember that, you know.
Yeah, Boris Johnson actually came down here. It's actually in the papers because he jumped on Lisbon Boris bikes and stuff like that. You know, that term.
Okay,
Was
yeah,
swing,
yeah,
and he was mayor, and he jumped on the bike and rid off, and obviously he had a bit of his arse cheeks, you know,
not the first time.
out, and the press is all chasing him. So I thought that was one of the funniest things. Like, obviously, we've always, you know, I was watching him on, you know, a Question Time, so it was like really weird. Not like, but you know,
Just weird seeing him in
to
person.
see him in person,
Yeah,
kind
yeah, yeah.
of thing, you know, and seeing
Yeah.
politics and like, you know, being interested in that. It was just weird. So I've kind of followed him, and he literally rode up the road, jumped in the car, another guy swapped.
For the media, really.
That was so funny. Yeah, it was literally a video.
You know, I actually worked like not with him, but I was
Yeah.
in the Greater London Greater London Authority,
Yeah.
GLA. Do you remember that their old offices in Tower Bridge? Because they've moved now to Docklands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Didn't know.
City Hall is in Docklands now. But yeah, I used to work in City Hall.
Oh, wow.
But he was on holiday like half the time I was there.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the school down there. Do you remember the old school, Rokeby?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever go there, or like even like summer schools?
Yeah, no, I did like I think once or twice go there to play football and stuff like that. But I at the time obviously went to West Ham Church School.
Okay, yeah.
And then went to Kingsford, and so I obviously when I went there, Rokeby at the time was more of a bad school.
Mate, honestly, the
Yeah.
dramas I had there,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
scary actually.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and especially at that young age, like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we've been exposed to stuff growing up in EastEnders for a while, but the school felt like, and particularly so I only went there for summer schools,
Yeah.
and mum and dad are working, you know, 2-3 jobs, so it's not like we had anywhere else to go.
Yeah.
But it was like a bit of a baptism by fire in terms of,
Yeah,
you know,
man. No, it's so crazy, man. Like you even just obviously coming from like this area, knowing how rough. Like if the fact that I come from this area, I know how Rokeby was like. That you've been there and been in them surroundings, but also like got yourself to a place where you're wild out. I feel that's very like aspirational.
trying,
'Cause,
man. Thank you,
like
appreciate
for
it.
like young people and you know, and the future, like it's hard to see in our culture, like and what we see around us, any like leadership, I guess, like and like people doing well and stuff like that. And I think I had opportunities in my life to have some, I guess, doors opened, like through like certain scholarship programs. Kiki.
It's alright.
Yeah.
Go.
But yeah, like through certain qualifications, and it was Access to Life. It was a scholarship that I went to, like different banks, different corporate companies, and met like different people that kind of I realized that some of them even came from this area. Like it came from nothing, and I realized that not everybody out there has like been given it on a plate, because sometimes that's what we get told because things are so hard. You feel me?
Mhm.
That everybody else has got it on a plate, and we can have that mentality. And there's a lot of like you know, this urban community. You have it where kids grow up in a bubble in the same area with the same kind of people and the same kind of thought patterns and perspectives.
It's so important the stories we tell about ourselves, and you mentioned leadership, the kind of leaders that we project up from our community, because those are the people then that people coming after us look up to, and that's the, you know, stories then we retell about ourselves or the lives we want to live.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's very important to me. And, you know, we've had conversations off camera about that kind of thing, because even though I'm in like the civil service right now and I can't be too overt or political about stuff, there is ways that like the people we appoint to like legislate and make rules for us and actually develop policy ideas, it's so important that they understand, you know, the communities they're from.
Yeah. No, that is literally the whole point. I think sometimes it can be like a thing where it seems very top down, like politics, and people are very disattached from like what's going on, and that's because I think of I say like way things work in politics at the moment, the way it is, but also like I feel like them connections we're talking about, these people need to be put into places and given a voice, and also given um, opportunities to meet people. And that's a hard thing to do because everybody's in their life. But I think like with emerging technology and like, nah, I had one, but she lost it.
Yeah, back again. What were we saying? Sorry, before we got cut off.
We were talking about
Well, no, I remember actually. I think you were talking about representation in politics
yeah,
and
yeah,
people from the area.
yeah, yeah,
And I actually, and you were talking about technology as well. I wanted to ask a question because there's a bit of a balance because like London, East London, very populated. So often we're not at like spot for choice. There's loads of people want to kind of get into that representative politics. Some other areas don't have that choice often, like outside London. When it comes to the balance of like forcing people from the area versus no, you have to be from the area. What are your views? Like, do you think actually sometimes you should have allowances or?
and what kind of aspects in people that are moving? So what, traveling here for tourism? Or?
No, either travellers or people that haven't like lived here for that long, then standing to either be local councillors or like members of parliament, representative or community assembly members or all the rest of it.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, I feel like
Sorry, 1 minute. Let me just
one of
shift
the
this.
most important.
Sorry. Yes, when it comes to like people representing in politics, on the balance of things, you think you should have people that are definitely from the area, or we should make some allowances and like if people move into the area they can stand, and there's some areas in like outside London that don't have a lot of people to choose from.
No, I definitely think that we needed people that have a heart for actual people. I think that's the most important thing, and I don't think we should restrict. I feel certain people that could also bring a new breadth of life or a new idea to the plate. I think we should be as much as open as we can, to the right people that have the obviously the credentials. Obviously that's one, but also the heart, which is the most important thing. So for me, it's more about what people do. I don't like the outward appearance of like people's credentials or where they're from and da 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 da. Sometimes we can get caught up in that, and people are very read books by their cover. But I feel like results are like mean more. Especially in the time that we are in now, where it's this COVID recession, people are really feeling a bite and are looking for also answers. So I feel like results are the best answer, and like finding people that can do that is the most important thing.
Didn't knock it over.
I was. She wouldn't do that, but Kilo, away, go away.
And then
Sorry.
no worries. And then you spoke about technology as well.
Yeah.
A bit of a random thought exercise. ChatGPT, the AI thing. Yeah,
I've been using it.
Yeah. I'm not. No comment for me. But if like we could get to a stage here where, because what happens right now is like if you have a problem, you can go to a local councillor or MP, say, I have this problem. What do you think? What if AI started writing answers back? Because sometimes councillors, MPs, people in government are like inundated, right? They've got loads of questions. Maybe we can get a little bit of help from a computer writing the answers back to them.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's something that we need to do. I think our whole political system, in a way, has to be uplifted in terms of the technology. Ukraine, before obviously the war started, a lot of their public services were run by apps, which also creates the data points and the streamlining of connection with the government and the people. I think in terms of GP appointments and stuff like that, there should be a better form of this AI, and so AI can actually respond, and we can feel that we're actually being communicated to, and then these data points can then be ranked and prioritized and stuff like that, because sometimes there's people that are have more priority in a certain time than other people, and I think creating systems that allow for that kind of scalability, using ChatGPT and AI, we're going through a phase where obviously Google, Amazon and all the IBM, they were all, they think
Like a race to dominate AI.
race to dominate AI. It's in the big talking meetings and stuff like that, around the world and stuff like that, and that's the next evolution in business. Going to what you was talking about more in terms of like actually like for parliament as well, like for MPs, for people that are trying to communicate to people, I feel like that would be a great aspect of that connection, and but I do feel like it needs to be involved with that larger app, that larger, because it will then be a tendency for people to use it, because there's always good tools out there, but it's like whether that tool is going to be used. So it needs to be very simple in a way, but also be something that people can use every day. So like even streamlining the new website and all of these aspects where people can
Ask
talk
questions
to
about
their
I've got
house
this
or cancel
parking
or
fine
parking
or
fines or this and that. They can also get involved and speak.
What about
to
the what about the counter argument about the bias in AI?
Mhm.
Because there's ethics concerns, right? Because someone's had to create that system that says this is what I view about the thing you've asked, and it's humans, and humans have bias, and so there's sometimes bias in the AI. Would you have any concerns about that being involved in politics? Like a computer,
Yeah.
which has learned from other humans who have their own political biases, then answering back like.
It's a thing. It's kind of like the snake chasing its own tail, in terms of politics will never keep up with technology, and politics will never keep up with AI either. And the soon as we realize that, the better. And when I say that is, I don't think we can make policy enough and pass it quick enough in terms of the government, before AI has learned something new, that needs to be legislated on. So like, I feel we need to have ethics at the core, and that's why I mean this is kind of, obviously I'm a political like thinker, as a young person. I don't really have any right, but I just have an interest. But I feel like in a way there needs to be like a new bill made, in a way like human rights bill. We've come out the EU now, and we have an opportunity to actually legislate our own law, maybe a new form of common law and stuff like that, but that also contributes social media and also the internet and AI, and these new areas that we're going to face, because there's things like deep fakes and
It's so hard
that is going to be, if we don't deal with this before it becomes a problem, it's just going to be a problem.
It's already a problem now, because I was hearing on the radio this morning that one of the problems is with like Signal and WhatsApp. So the government has a problem because like it's trying to not monitor, but if there is a accusation of the child pornography or terrorism, whatever, they need to be able to like get evidence to say that's the criminal, that's the bad person. And then some of these platforms like Signal and WhatsApp have got end-to-end encryption, where government can't come in and like see is that a bad picture, is that a bad message being sent. It's a really hard one to like get right, because at the same time these independent companies are trying to, they're independent, they're making their own thing. So for example, I think like Signal or WhatsApp would say, look, if the UK brings in a law that means our end-to-end encryption can't exist in the UK, we just won't sell our software in the UK. So WhatsApp might go away from the UK because I don't know if you get what I'm saying and what you think about that.
No, that is a very deep question, because you're going into like business privacy, and obviously the public, and government. it's a very difficult one, and this is why when I say even create a new bill, I I don't even think we've got the political
Smarts, wisdom.
We don't have the the class in government to
Wow.
actually even achieve something that will be positive for the little kids here and the future and the everyday man. I feel like the way that our government's set up, I don't know, it would end up being the lobbyists winning and us losing.
Potentially, because
And
they
that's
have access to the MPs.
and yeah, and the reason why I said that specifically is because obviously there is a privacy because people do want to have communication without also being like watched or listened to, but also there is this like balance of safety and comfort. So there's, we need to understand that there is a balance. I don't know, and this is why like things like this, it needs to come from the people up, like, and this is why leadership's important, because the ethics in terms of like, all right, if there is bad videos or things going on, we need like people to know how to report this outside of like a private system. So like where there's reporting and stuff like that of these things, off platform. Like if the government had or the police had a way of like, people could take screenshots and send them in, and that's evidence. They don't actually need. So there's other ways of doing these things without giving the government more power that actually could be used against the people in different situations where we don't want. And that's the thing. Like I'm a person that like I love government, but I do believe in like less government and in terms of
ideologically you are smaller states
in a way. Like obviously I not in a smaller state in terms of government is needed 100%, but
not too much intervening in our lives and our choices and our
some freedoms. And that's why I was talking about the Bill of Rights and stuff, because like for example the history of this country's Magna Carta. We've got our first freedoms and stuff like that from then, and these like laws kind of were like a symbol around the world and actually started a lot of the democracy. The Constitution had some ideas from our Magna Carta. So like this has always been a place where UK where we've fought for our independent rights, and I think as big tech, big private companies also have all these data, like data collection and stuff like that. They have our buying habits. They know there's just so much data and stuff like that. And then that coupled with AI and how our data can then be streamed with AI and these corporate companies to actually able to encroach on our life even more to try and get us to buy more. And I think do more, which some things are good, and we could use this technology for good, but often the way the Western system works is always consumerism first, and that doesn't lead to
the underlying capitalism like structure has a bit of a loop where making more money for shareholders, returning more money for shareholders wins, often at the expense of societal benefits. But going back to the thing about new Bill of Rights, so it's interesting because the Magna Carta, I had a random link to the GDPR because I think that was a first from the the UK government, or the UK was the first to like introduce new privacy data protection concepts. But I'm gonna have to get Kenya in for lunch or dinner rather.
No, definitely, man.
So thanks for jumping on this at short notice.
That was good.
Probably again a lot more to discuss, but another time.
Yeah, another time.
All right, safe man.